a way to, get the nitty-gritty details around this particular proposals than through a hotelier, a seasoned hotelier. I'm joined by John Musau, who's the general manager at the Tamarind Tree Hotel right here in Nairobi. Musau, it's great to see you. Karibu sana to our studios.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you, Jesse, and thanks for inviting me.
Well, thank you for your time. I'd like us to begin on that particular note.
Yes.
And I know it caused quite an uproar on social media. Most people were critical about some of those proposals that were mentioned by the cabinet secretary. So as a seasoned hotelier, does that proposal to charge visitors per room instead of per person make logical sense from your point of view?
Thank you very much, Jesse. And I think from where I stand and from the hotelier's point of view, I don't think it makes really sense to charge per room, because hotels are designed to charge per person single occupancy. Then when you're two people, you charge double occupancy. Double occupancy means two people in a room. Means you have to put amenities, you have to put water, extra tubes, extra things, everything extra to accommodate for the second person. Yeah. So when you charge per room, it means that room can have 10 people. So the experience that customers will get, the room might be cheap because everybody will share into the cost. But what is the experience you're giving to the guest, especially international guests, and even our local guests? Hospitality is about providing experience. It's not about the product. Our product is experience. It's experiential. Okay. So if we put many people in a room, then we have to provide for the same amenities, for their comfort. So, but in ideal situation, you have single occupancy, as I said, you have a double occupancy. If you have 3 people in a room, you put 3 beds, and that is the maximum a room can take. 3 people in a room. You can't take more than 3 people in a room, because it means the space will be limited, the amenities and the experience will not be the same.
But let's try and understand where the cabinet secretary was coming from. And if I'm the devil's advocate in this particular moment, she was perhaps trying to boost the numbers in our hotels, that perhaps many Kenyans are locked out due to the per person payment. They might not be able to, take a spouse, a loved one, or family to a certain hotel, kujivinjari, kuenjoy Kenya, kutembea Kenya, as they say. Yes. So on the flip side, if we were to actually charge visitors per room, it might boost the numbers in terms of local tourism.
It's two-sided. It's a sword which is two-sided. If you increase the numbers, what are you looking at? Yes, people will stay in a room, in a hotel, but the experience will be downgraded. It means the hotel room will be cheap. But remember, we don't only charge for the room only. We charge for the ambience. It's not only the room. We're not talking about the room. Yeah. Yes, you might increase the numbers. The more numbers you have, if you increase numbers more than the capacity of the restaurant, because when you have a room, it means those people will dine. You need a restaurant. So if you increase that, then it means you'll have mass tourism, which is cheap, which there are a few countries which are focused in that direction, but it cheapens the product. Yes, you'll have more numbers, but the product is cheapened.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. So as a stakeholder, you will definitely shoot down that proposal, perhaps if you're approached to give your submissions around it.
Yes, I will, because we must provide experience, because we sell experience. And as I said, when we actually charge, you can say it's per room somehow, because you charge 1 person in a room. When there are 2 people, you had a supplement, which, like in Tamarind Tree, we had a supplement of $70 per person, which will cater for the extra amenities. But we have a maximum. We can't go more than 3 people in a room. In a suite, yes, you could, because sometimes we have a sofa bed. But not more than 5 people in a room. Okay. You cannot just say, let's give you a room rate, and as many people as you bring, doesn't matter, because there's a cost. There's breakfast cost. Those people will have breakfast in the morning. You need extra water in the room. You need extra sleepers. You need extra bathrooms. You need everything. You need extra for each person to provide experience. Now, if you squeeze 5 or 10 people in one room, then even the experience, I don't think they'll come back to Kenya.
Okay. And as I was doing my research, I came across a certain saying that people never remember the price, they remember the quality of service and experience. So
That
from
is
a
correct.
hotelier's point of view, I sort of get where you're coming from.
That's correct.
Okay, so we pay for the experience and the service. And perhaps let's now talk about how the Kenyan tourism sector has actually survived the COVID-19 pandemic. If we can well remember,
Yes.
where the tourism sector was brought to its knees, not just in Kenya, but across the globe due to that particular disruption. As we speak right now, and we just recently saw President William Ruto at the Masai Mara area looking at the wildebeest, donning Masai attire,
yes.
definitely sends a good message that Kenya is open
Correct.
in terms of business,
Yes.
especially in the tourism sector.
Yes.
What numbers are we witnessing right now? Is there a boom as we speak?
Yes, thank you very much. As we speak, we are in IPEC season.
Okay.
It's the IPEC season for tourism. We're getting close to 50% of tourists coming from all over to come view our migration. We know the Masai Mara is the seventh wonder of the world, so we got so many. It was a very good message to see the president really doing a game drive, and that sends a very positive message. Since COVID, you said, we've come a long way, and the Kenyans are very, they keep on improving, and we never give up. And I think the marketing bit has been done very well, though the only thing I would urge the Ministry of Tourism and KTB is to increase the budget. The budget for marketing Kenya is very small. When you look at, I think if I'm not wrong, the budget is 0.3% compared to the revenue we get. We are currently at targeting 2 billion visitors. Surely we should be at 5 billion. We are a leading destination, but we only need to market it well. Okay. I think we're in the right direction because we saw the president and everybody in the cabinet, they're all trying to market Kenya as a leading tourism destination.
Okay, so we're definitely making the right strides towards the right direction.
Yes.
But I equally have to ask, in the past few months, we've seen a number of disruptions.
Yes.
And we well know of the link when politics is, takes the front seat, other sectors tend to be affected in one way or the other. And in the last few months, we've seen the street protests that on one side have been called, deadly and ugly. On the other side, people mention they're practicing and exercising their democratic right. But from a hotelier point of view, within the last few months that we've seen disruptions here and there, what is the status update generally in terms of the disruptions and how it affected the tourism sector?
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Mandamanos really affected tourism and hospitality. I remember at Tamarind Tree, we got a lot of cancellations. And it's not only at Tamarind Tree, all hotels and venues, we got a lot of cancellations. And a lot of overseas guests, tourists, were actually waiting to see whether the Mandamano will happen or not. Every time they want to confirm, they will tell you, give us a week. Let's wait to see the next move. But we got so many cancellations. This means tourism needs peaceful country. Surely we need peace for us to survive in the tourism industry. And we don't want Mandamano because it really affects our industry so much.
Okay.
Peace is what we need, and we'll have all kind of guests coming to our country.
Well, it's interesting. And speaking of guests, in terms of local tourists, because there's been an approach to boost the numbers of Kenyans who actually visit our magical sites, our hotels, and enjoy the tourism sector, the robust tourism sector we have in the country. And vis-a-vis the numbers that actually come from, expatriates, people from other countries, what should we do to bring up the numbers of local tourists, especially in times of tough economic challenges here and there? As a player in the tourism sector, what steps should we take to boost these local numbers?
Thank you. I think for the local or resident tourism, we should have local rates. Surely we should have discounted rates. We should give our people, East Africa residents, to say, a chance to visit our game drives, game parks, to visit our hotels, and that is by giving them discounted rates. Again, at Tamarind Tree and all hotels have resident rates and non-resident rates. The resident rate is cheaper, which encourages the local people to come and enjoy their facilities in their own country. So we should do that for the national parks and everywhere else. I mean, it's the only thing which the government did, which is very, we've seen that they've said from January 2024, they will increase the park rates, which for the local tourism, I don't think it's a good move, because to increase it from 430, if I'm not wrong, to 2,000 shillings per person, that will mean that the local tourism, the local people will no longer visit the parks, because with whatever is happening, these will be left to the international guests only.
You sort of anticipated my next question. It was centered on the park fees and the rise that is seen that will be coming on next year.
Yes.
Others mention is quite exorbitant, and the risk is definitely there. You've highlighted that it might dent the local tourism numbers in the country. What proposal would you give? Because it seems you're not going back. This is something that's already on paper that will be implemented as of next year. Would you propose that perhaps it's done gradually to give Kenyans time perhaps to acclimatize to the new park fees? What exactly should we do?
Yes, I think we should grow it gradually, because the increase from 430 to 2,000, it's triple, 3 times. I mean, when you do that, it means you're telling these local people, forget about your national parks, don't go anywhere. And remember, it's not only for the person visiting, they're also increasing that for the vehicle taking the local tourist to the park. So it should be done gradually, according to me. Previously, the government has given Kenyans a chance to visit parks during public holidays for free. I'm not sure whether that is the direction the government will take. And they've been doing that to expose the local people to their national parks. Now, when you increase the rates too much with the current economic situation in the country, I am not convinced that we will be in the right direction.
But then again, I have to play the devil's advocate. What's the thinking behind increment of park fee? Because it must have been informed by certain circumstances. I was just doing my research, and one of the things that stood out is that the cost of conservancy is not cheap.
Correct.
So we definitely have to pump in money to ensure ensure the ecosystem is sustained, so we can enjoy what we have to offer as Kenya. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I mean, running parks is not cheap. I mean, we need money. But I think we need to do it gradually, because we're looking for quick fix. I think that is a quick fix, where we need money more than the experience of the parks and long-term situation. I think it's a quick fix. And that's why I'm saying we need to increase it slowly, gradually. And Kenyans will acclimatize and get used to it, and they will not fight it. I mean, we all need money. The government needs money. The stakeholders, everybody needs money. But I think the rate we are increasing it, we might find the parks are only left for the few able people, those who have deep pockets, which is not, I don't think that is what the Ministry of Tourism wants to achieve, because on one hand, they want more numbers. On the other hand, they want to limit the numbers by increasing the price. I don't think it makes sense.
So it's an intricate balance, because we definitely want to boost numbers while boosting revenue.
Correct.
So we shouldn't focus on revenue and make the numbers dwindle on the other side.
That's correct. We should balance the two, so that we don't only increase one area and at the cost of the other area. It should balance. We should make it balance.
And we've canvassed a couple of issues, but I'd like your take on the predominant challenges that are facing the tourism sector. And you've spoken about Tembea Kenya in terms of boosting local tourism, equally what we need to do in terms of expatriates. But what are the challenges that we're currently facing, and perhaps that we need to fine tune in order to, boost the numbers and make sure the tourism sector achieves its potential right here in the country?
I think one of the biggest challenges we've been having was the visa for the international tourists, and we are so happy that the government lifted visas almost for every country. This means everybody can come and visit our country and increase our room occupancy, increase our park patronage, and even the beaches. And in Mombasa, you will find it's full of tourists, because now we're all open to the whole world. That is a major plus to the country. But we also need to shift to quality tourism now. We are opening the country, but who are we getting? Right now, the major groups which come to Kenya, or the major countries, the US, the US, UK, those are our main markets. We need to see how we can market that. Still reaching to the other markets like the China, we need to reach at all the markets so that we balance that. But talking about the domestic tourism, I think we need to give Kenyans or the local people incentives to travel. because they need to tembea Kenya, they need to see different, what we have in this country. And our country is very beautiful. It has all sorts of beautiful things everybody likes seeing. And I think we need to give an incentive. And one of them would be the park fees, would be giving resident rates, would be giving Kenyans discounts in food and beverage outlets. We've got a lot of restaurants and establishment, and I'll mention our Carnival restaurant. We are Beast of the Feast, where you get you can eat all sorts of meats. If you're local, you get a Kenyan rate.
Okay.
So we should, even restaurants should also focus on Kenyan residents, not only one rate for everyone. And that, if we focus in that direction, we could be heading somewhere.
Okay, as we finalize, and this was just recent, because I was listening to President William Ruto, and he mentioned that the counties will sort of take charge of the parks that are within their counties.
Yes.
And he was touching on, I think it was Amboseli National Park, with the Kajiado County managing 50% of the revenue that will be taken from that particular park. Is this a step in the right direction, bearing in mind this particular journey started as early as President Mwai Kibaki, where he brought it up, but it wasn't really implemented across board, across all the counties? What are the low-hanging fruits that counties will benefit from, and perhaps the tourism sector at the bigger picture level?
I think that is a decision in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think when the county takes 50%, it means it will develop infrastructure in that region. It will develop roads, hospitals, banks, shopping malls, which for sure tourists will want to use. So I think it's in the right direction. It's an injection, capital injection in the local, in the county's revenue collection. For the national government, it's already getting something, especially the 50% could be used for marketing in the larger macroeconomic view. I think it's the right direction for all counties to get something. Because some counties in Mara, for example, Kajiado, with Amboseli, with Masai Mara, they don't get anything. Everything goes to the national government. Look at the roads in our national parks. They're terrible. If the counties were getting 50% of that revenue, I'm sure they will develop. And when the president announced that, I saw the governor of Kajiado, who is a former hotelier like me, jumping and being very happy, and he was extremely excited.
Yeah,
and
so
I
good tidings are coming.
Good tidings are coming.
Okay, asante sana, John Musau. That was an interesting conversation as we highlighted the state of tourism in general, reacting to what the cabinet secretary had to say in terms of the per person and per room cost, equally reacting to the state of tourism right now, as he's mentioned, its peak. So if you truly want to embody the Tembea Kenya spirit, make sure you make your way to the various sites and scenes we have right here in the country, including Tamarind Tree Hotel. Interesting. John Musau, asante sana for your time. General Manager of Tamarind Tree Hotel right here in Nairobi. Allow us to take a short break. As we come back, we'll shift focus to health matters, bearing in mind the 10th year of devolution in the country was celebrated just last week as we held the 8th Devolution Conference. So we want to take a stock of the health sector. It's a devolved function. What exactly is working, what isn't, equally as we focus on cancer treatment, especially within the counties. To stay with News Center.